Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak, the podcast. I'm your host, Elena Fox. Hey guys, I hope you're doing really well in this moment in time, and that whenever and wherever you happen to be, albeit earthbound, I want you to remember that you indeed are star-born. Now, you may or may not be a star seed, but we are made up of the star stuff. Some of that star stuff is headed our way. We've got gamma rays, a gamma ray burst heading our way. And it's knocking some of us for a loop. I know for sure my day was spent in bed. I am exhausted and physically in so much pain. And it feels like it's from this. It's the weirdest thing. My cat is mad because I am refusing to allow her to eat my chili, and she is asking me over and over again, "Ma, can I have your chili?" And I'm saying, "No, knowledge, Ravenspell. Chili is not good for cats." Now she's sulking and skulking away. Oh, she's so mad at me right now. It smells good. I agree. My chili does smell good. I have one more day when I make chili. It's 3 or 4 days worth of food, and today's the last day of chili. And she's in there lamenting. That's her lamenting. That's her like, "Man, I don't like this situation at all. Not one bit, Mom." Oh, because I usually cook for her, fish, but I don't share things with salt and sugar. That's not good for the livers of cats. It's not good for them to have onions and garlic either. And those are my 4 main ingredients. Oh, good. And I even put sugar in it because you want a little bit of sweetness. And yeah, it's good chili, honey, but you can't have any. Oh, I feel sad for her. I need to figure out something. I did give her a hamburger from the meat, though, when I made it. So at least there's that. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying. I want you guys to understand that we are made up of star stuff. We are pure divine love, which I talked about quite a bit. Talked about last night. And in fact, last night's channeling was quite beautiful and pretty deep into the idea of love. And we are made up, literally our physical bodies are made up of things that used to swirl about the universe. We are made up of the star stuff. The stars slough off their skin like we exfoliate, and then that becomes our human bodies eventually. It's kind of weird. I don't know how that works exactly, but I've heard scientists talk about this. So you have the ability to shine as a star. You're made up of the things that stars are made up of. Now, I saw something yesterday that I'm not going to quote directly, but it was pretty cool. It said something about the sun. Don't worry about being alone, because the sun gets up every day and shines brilliantly, completely on his own. I thought that was kind of sweet. A little weird, in comparison to us, because we are more dependent on each other. But it is true. Don't be afraid to shine on your own. In fact, if you shine on your own, that's how you're going to attract, well, a lot of moths in the beginning, but eventually you're going to attract somebody who's equally as brilliant as you. But don't be afraid to be, to shine your light throughout the world. Don't be afraid to show the world your art, or play your music, or speak your mind, or go for that acting part you might want. What if you're an engineer or an accountant? Maybe you still want to work or act in local theater. There's nothing wrong with going for those things to be a star in your own right. Have a blog, have a vlog, have an article in a local paper, or, a YouTube channel, or your own podcast. There's nothing wrong with any of that. In fact, several of you do have podcasts. But whatever this energy is that's hitting us right now, I am absolutely floored at how powerful it is and how it's affected me. I've got a massive headache right now, although I did not drink enough coffee today because I did not wake up till 5 o'clock in the afternoon, evening, whatever. I literally was up for about an hour of daylight, hour and a half. That was it. We have 12 hours of daylight here in Ecuador, so no excuse, right? But yet I just could not get out of bed. I slept for 9 hours straight, and I was up for about an hour. I answered some messages and debated whether or not I was going to go back to sleep or not. And all of a sudden, my cat, she came in and flopped down on the bed and she put her feet on my foot. And I'm like, that's it, I'm going back to sleep. So I kind of lounged about and had cat's hours today. And I really didn't go to bed at 6 a.m. like I have been all week. I've been going to bed maybe about 2, or yesterday I went to bed around 2 or 3 in the morning. I think it's more like 3, maybe. I probably didn't fall asleep till 4, but just focused on God, focused on love. I'm just focused on the higher vibrations. I'm not paying attention to the time or schedules. I'm not paying attention to any of that. I'm just always focusing on my energy. And lately, in the past 2 days, I've been trying to adjust my energy to the new timeline that I hopped onto. In tonight's episode, in the later half of the episode, we're going to talk about timelines. Now, my friend came on. He is an archangel. He's my brother from Divine Mother. He's actually got some quite insightful questions, and he asked me these questions, and I'm like, we need to do a show, and so that's what we're doing tonight. He's going to ask his questions. I'm going to ask these questions of Prime Creator, and we're going to see what Prime Creator has to say. And I've got to tell you, I did the interview yesterday. I got to tell you, it's information that I didn't know. New stuff is coming in. New information has come to light. And I've been looking at a lot of different things today. Not for very long. I've only been up like 2 hours, but I've been contemplating a lot of things about how we are growing in power. We are growing in our sovereignty, in the power of our sovereignty, in the fact that we are brilliant, shining lights, and how we've always, at least in recent years, we've been stopping our own light, and we're afraid to shine bright. We're afraid to let ourselves be put out there. We're afraid that our family and friends are going to think we're strange or weird. We limit ourselves so that other people feel better about themselves. That's a part of the people-pleasing thing that a lot of us have, especially those of us who are empaths. So I say just shine on, my brilliant stars. Shine on, be your best self that you could possibly be. And if your family and friends don't understand you or don't like it, they can fall away, and you're going to get new family and new friends. You pick your family when you're an adult, right? Your friends become like your family, even though you still love your mom and your dad. You still have to speak with your brothers and sisters and whatnot. Your children and whatnot. But they won't resonate with you if you resonate at your brightest sometimes. And sometimes when you resonate at your brightest, you pull them up with you, and they start to shine their own light. They start to explore their own spiritual selves. So don't be afraid. Be brave. Go forward in this knowledge that temporarily people might fall away, but also at the same time, people might actually surprise you. They might shine their stars. They might have been afraid to shine their stars because they don't want you to feel bad. Well, what a dumb situation that would be. I don't want to eat the last bagel. I thought you wanted it. Well, I didn't want to eat the last bagel because I didn't want to take your bagel. Well, damn, now no one's eaten the last bagel. It's been 3 days. It's hard as a fucking rock, and no one can eat it. Now we're both out of bagel. We could have shared. It's that same kind of mentality. My husband and I always had this weird thing where we couldn't leave the house because I would be waiting for him and he'd be waiting for me. Like I'd go get ready and then I'd go sit down, wait for him to get ready. And he would go, well, I'm waiting for you to get ready. And I'd be like, well, no, I'm waiting for you to get ready. I'm already ready already. He's like, well, if you're ready already, I got to go get ready. I'm like, yeah, you do. And then he'd go upstairs and go get ready. And then in his getting ready might be involving taking a shower. Well, I thought you were clean. Well, if you're going to get ready by taking a shower, then I got other shit to do. And then he'd be ready, take a shower and get ready and get dressed. And he'd be like, well, now it's getting dark. And I'd be like, well, at least you showered. Let's leave tomorrow early before you have to shower again. And I'll be ready then too. And it was just one of the weirdest things that I don't know. It was a weird pattern we had between us. And I think the secret part of it is we just wanted to never leave the house. We just wanted to be home with our kids, loving each other and hanging out. And we never wanted to interact with other people. We just wanted to be together and have that sweetness and that love between us. And it was like the stupidest pattern though, because we always enjoyed ourselves when we left the house, but we also put off leaving the house for 3 or 4 days. And I still have that stupid pattern. And I don't know if was it my pattern that I brought into the relationship, or was it his pattern? I don't know, but we enjoyed each other's company so much. We didn't have to be around other people. We just shone completely brilliantly on our own. We loved and we loved and we loved. We loved each other. We loved our kids. We loved our time together. There was so much love there that we just didn't, it didn't even matter. Groceries, we're going to live on love. We don't need to eat. I'm just kidding. And when it came to grocery shopping, we would always leave, on time usually. But it was like other things, like let's go to the bookstore. Sometimes if the bookstore is mentioned, boy, we could get ready lickety split, man, in 5 minutes flat. Boom, we're ready. Let's go. We're going now. Kids, get your shoes on. It was just like, we're going to the bookstore. But then other things like, do we really want to walk around the park? Do we really want to see other kids? Do we really want to have conversations with other people? We could maybe do it tomorrow. It was, I don't know. It was just, we were kind of hermits in that way. We just wanted to live in our little love bubble. But, I wasn't afraid to shine around him, and he wasn't afraid to shine around me, at least at the end, though he started admitting he wished he would have done more with his life. And this is before he knew he was dying. I'm like, well, you could still do more with your life. Just go for it. You know, it was kind of weird, but don't be afraid to shine that light. Don't be afraid to get up and just go. Eat the last bagel. So what? There's more bagels in the world. Take the last fucking bagel. It's your bagel. I want you to have it. Take the last damn bagel. Seriously. While it's still fresh. Grab the brass ring. You know, while you can. You know, as they say. I didn't even know what that meant, grab the brass ring. I never knew what that meant. And then I saw an episode of General Hospital like 30 years ago where this beautiful woman, oh God, I can't remember her name. She had black hair and blue eyes, and she was just absolutely stunning, beautiful. Anyway, she went on this old-fashioned, old-timey carousel, like from the 1800s or something, with her fiance in the storyline, and they were going up and down on the horses, on the carousel on the horses, and she grabbed a brass ring that was like on the side of the carousel. She grabbed it and she said, look what I got. I got the brass ring. And I remember thinking, is that what the fuck that is? Is that where that comes from? It's like a game to see who can grab the brass ring on the carousel. Is it really like over 200 years old, this reference? It's so strange. And to this day, I don't know if that's what that meant or not. And I've always assumed that it was an actual direct reference where that came from. But it's more of a metaphor of just seizing, going after that dream, you know, seizing the thing that is yours already. My God, you are a sovereign, divine being experiencing being a human. And we have all of this strange energy around us and this timeline hopping crap that's happening. And it's amazing though. I mean, I'm calling it crap, but it's so cool that it's happening. But it's exhausting. And I wanted to tell you, I'm not the only one where it happened to me, 2 days ago in the middle of my introduction. I hopped a timeline, forgot what the hell I was saying because I was like, whoa, and trying to get used to the new energy and being aware of that. How many times for decades have we been sitting around not aware that that's what's happening to us? And we just feel like, oh, we're having a senior moment. You know, hey, wow, I'm a senior in high school and I'm having a senior moment. Like, how long has this been going on? It's been going on forever, but we were not aware of what was happening. On a multidimensional level, we were not aware. You know, we just thought we're humans having a human experience and no more. And sometimes we have a brain fart. We would call that a brain fart or brain fog or... You know, just, oh, that was weird. I don't know what the hell that was. I don't know what happened. When in reality, we were probably hopping a timeline. You know, we made a decision or we, you know, gathered more energy onto ourselves and went up one. We don't even know. Went higher in vibration suddenly. Now we went up. In this whole time, we didn't know. But I'm going to read you something that happened to Jordan. She is an archangel, and she wrote this in my, not my group, it's not my group, somebody else started the group, but the archangel group. And I wanted to, explain it from my perspective, but if you hear it from somebody else's perspective going through it, it might give you a more of a well-rounded idea of what's going on. You know, like we all have a different perspective on it. And her perspective was particularly awesome. So she says, I told her I have had a lot of phase-ins and phase-outs lately. And she says, speaking of phase-ins and phase-outs, I hopped a timeline last night in the middle of telling my mom about a vision I had. And I felt time literally stretch visually and then contract. Like my whole vision and body felt like a rubber band for a second. And it felt like I almost had an out of body while in the middle of it. It was so wild, dude. Ha ha, I'm surprised my mom didn't even notice, or maybe she did and didn't know what just happened. What had just happened? I had to hurry and finish and then compose myself. Ha 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 ha, you know? Like, yeah. Oh my God, that makes it, that's exactly what I've been experiencing. I never thought to put it that way, like a rubber band stretching out. Like, yeah, I see things stretching out and the colors kind of blend together sometimes. And it's just kind of like you're saying the word no. And as you're saying the word no, it becomes like, no. But what you hear is no. But you get inside the sound, you get inside the colors, you get inside the physical space, and then the space and the sound and the colors and everything and the emotion, everything gets stretched out and slowed way the fuck down and then snaps right back like a rubber band. And all of a sudden you're there and you're like, what? That's the best way to describe it, Jordan. Thank you so much. It's incredible. It is an incredible way of putting it. So we were talking about phase in and phase outs because something happened to me last night that I did not tell you guys in yesterday's show. I've been trying to process it. Basically, I woke up yesterday at a decent hour, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. More decent than today anyway. I really need to get back on a normal schedule, but which I will next week when I don't have to do the show anymore. By the way, today, this is the last Thursday we're together. Tomorrow's the last show of the season. But I'm still available for readings, by the way. Just want to mention it. I do mention it in the second half, but I just want to let you know. I will still be available for questions, for anything you need, ideas for the upcoming season in 6 weeks. Any of that, all that. So, okay, so this is the thing. I woke up at a decent hour. I started my coffee, I just started boiling the water, basically, to make my first cup of coffee of the day. And I had opened up my house, turned on my fan, opened up my my sliding glass door, opened up the screen door, allowed the cat to come and go as she pleased. She left for a while, came back for a while, and I thought she had left again. And I was just having a conversation with somebody on Instagram, and I was, on and off. And then I thought, well, in the middle of listening or, having the conversation, I'm going to listen to music. So I put on my headphones, which I don't normally do. I put on my headphones and I put on some music that sounded incredibly awesome. And then I thought, well, I want to listen to Why So Serious 24D. She's always a wild trip. I don't agree with everything she says, but I thought I'm going to listen to her. She had like a 42-minute thing. So I put that on. And I continued to cook, and, I was trying to make food. I was trying to make my coffee. I was trying to do my stuff around the kitchen. I think I was doing dishes, And then I thought, I'm going to go and see if somebody had written me back that I was talking to. So I'm standing in the middle of my living room, in the middle of all this other stuff I was doing. So I was very focused on what was happening, and I was still listening to the Why So Serious, her 42-minute conversation, and I was still listening to that, and so I still had my headphones on, but I could now hear, because I didn't have the water running or anything, I could now hear stuff going on outside. I could hear, trucks going by on the road, 2 blocks from here, the trucks, just because the way the mountains here are shaped, we can hear the road, it's so loud. It sounds like it's barreling down, right in front of the house, even though it's not. We can hear traffic quite loud. So I was aware of dogs barking and traffic and, just the normal stuff of the day, right? So I was like aware of it. I could hear it, even though I was listening in my headphones. So all of a sudden, the weirdest freaking thing happened. This is hard to describe, but I'm standing next to my desk, and behind me, at my back, when I'm facing my desk, is a coffee table and a half-made couch, which is like a bench at this point. And that's it. There's no furniture. There's nothing high up in the ceiling. There's no place at all for a cat to be. And yet, I felt the sensation of my cat, jumping from at least the height of my refrigerator, which was in front of me, because it's all one room. So I had the sensation of my cat jumping from at least the height, if not higher, of the refrigerator. So 6, 7 feet, 8 feet up in the air. I heard her jump. I heard the whoosh. I felt the energy of it. And she landed like boom, right next to me on the floor, right behind me, like a foot behind me. And I was like, whoa, because there's no way she could have jumped from anything. I spun around really quick and nothing was there. And yet the floor reverberated. I felt the reverberation of the sound throughout my body. I took a breath. I jumped back. I started looking all over for my cat. I'm like, where the hell's my cat? I thought she was outside. I was freaked out. Things are shifting and phasing so rapidly right now that these kinds of incidences are occurring, right? So I went in the other room. Can't find the cat. Looked everywhere. Can't find the cat. She's not in here. I start calling her. Where are you? Where are you? And she comes, meow, 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 her little meow meows up the stairs that she does. She has like one meow per stair. She does this cute thing where she's on her way to me and she missed me. She was away from me for 20 minutes or something, and she really missed me, and she comes up the stairs and she does this cute little meow, 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 a little mew per stair, and she's racing up the stairs, races into my arms, and we hug for a minute, and then she goes and lays down on the deck like, that didn't happen. I'm cool now. I'm like Fonzie. And she spreads her legs and her tail out like, yeah, everything's cool. And she looks at me and kind of winks, And she always does this kind of thing. It's adorable. But I just, where the hell did that cat come from? It was my cat, and yet it was not my cat. There was no place, no space, no way that this happened, but something happened. It definitely happened and made me jump. I twirled around. Not that gracefully. Twirl is too graceful of word for what I did. Spun around rapidly and almost lost my balance, okay? That's more like what I did. It's a lot less of a twirl and more of a spun and oops kind of. I felt dizzy. I felt weird, like disoriented and strange. Like, what the hell just freaking happened? And that continuous energy of phase in and phase out type of energy happened throughout the rest of the day for me yesterday. And I'm adjusting to the new vibration of my new timeline that I've hopped into. And I'm adjusting to it right now. It's been 2 days I've not hopped a timeline, which is really weird. That I'm aware that I did not, and muscle testing says I did not. I've been in this, I'm at a plateau, Prime Creator said, and I'll be here for another, maybe even 3-4 days. 3-4 days total? No, 3-4 days more before I hop up again. So probably Monday or Tuesday, I'll hop up to another timeline or several. But this was really odd. Really, really odd. Like I'm having conversations with people and we're like questioning, are you the person I had a conversation with, or are you a new you? Are we in another conversation? And we get into these conversations about I hope it's the you from that timeline several timelines ago. I hope you remember that conversation. I mean, this multidimensional stuff is not for the weak. And yet we're all doing it. Once you become more and more aware of it, I mean, it's going to rock your world in a really weird way. And the energy coming our way, this gamma ray burst, I have no idea how it's going to affect us. On the Why So Serious 24D channel, she was saying it's going to affect us in a big, big, big way. But she said the same thing about the magnetar, and it did not hit us that way. So let's just pray that it changes us in ways it's meant to change us. And if it lifts us into 5D, hey. I just felt, I don't know how to say it, like a silence. My left ear just went quiet. I can hear out of it, snapping in front of my ear. Do you guys do that with it's the opposite of getting the tinnitus, the E sound that we get. It's the opposite of that when all of a sudden your ear goes silent. Do you guys have that too? It's almost like you've had that tinnitus and then it just stops. And it's like, whew, it's like a peaceful energy. I just got that. It's like reverse tinnitus. Oh, here it's starting up again. Great. It sounds like tinkling of bells, like a fairy sound that I hear sometimes when I hear the fae. I don't hear them often. I just see them like streaks of light and pinpoints of light. And a lot of people have been noticing lately too that the fairies, the fae folk, they're showing up in our world. And we're seeing the tips of the wings of our angels, our holy guardian angels. We get to feel them. So be aware of this. You are a brilliant shining star. I want you to claim your power. I want you to understand how special you are and how we are going to our most brilliant destiny in the fifth dimension. I mean, it's really special and it's very unique. When I say special, I mean unique. Like this has not happened to anyone, in any part of the universe ever, where they physically rose up to go hop into a different dimension. Like we hop different timelines all the time, but hopping into a different dimension, that's another entirely new thing. There's this other little meme that I saw from Wisdom, Love, Truth, all one word. It says, don't worry if you make waves simply by being yourself. The moon does it all the time. And so that was another one that it hit me kind of like the sun idea. And yeah, it's true. You are earthbound but star-born. None of our souls originated on earth. We might have been born on earth, but our souls were from a different place. Whether you're human or archangel or starseed, we're not from here. This is not our true home. Our true home is in a world with God and a life that never ends. That love, that pure love. Anyway, I'm going to read to you guys Naga Josephina. She used to be Naga Healing Guidance, but like many of us, she is growing and changing, and she changed her name to reflect that. So this is what she wrote today. How are you feeling today? She says, daily energies, Naga Josephina, and it's with an F, Josefina. Naga is spelled Naga. Anyway, she says, I keep hearing higher timelines, higher layers of awareness. That's what she's hearing. Dude, this is what I've been experiencing. And if you've experienced some of this crazy shit, you know this is true, right? I'm saying it, she's saying it. That's two of us. And if you've been experiencing it, baby, you know, hey. All right, so we are clearing the third eye and throat. You might seem to care a lot about what others could say about you today, but you shouldn't. This is what she's saying, and then I agree with her. There is nothing you can or need to do about the choices of others. That's true. We have 3 planets in Virgo now. Hey, baby. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a Virgo. I get excited. Okay. Because Mercury has now just joined Mars and Venus. Now, what does that mean? I'm going to tell you. She doesn't say this, but I'm going to tell you. Mars and Venus is the masculine and the divine feminine. I mean, divine masculine, divine feminine. I know I said that wrong. So basically, masculine and feminine energies. The action and the love and the beautiful, vibrant, luxurious parts of love, the romantic parts of love, is meeting action, and it's meeting up with Mercury, which is communication. So basically, divine masculine and divine feminine communicating. I love this energy. It's awesome for me. I'm absolutely loving it. So, okay. Virgo is an extremely grounded, focused, hard worker. Baby, you know it. As she says that, I love it. And she says, you may get quite anxious on and off today and also feel grounded, even heavy physically. And it's an awesome moment to organize yourself, prioritize and work towards your goals. Or in my case, sleep all fucking day. The heavy energy really helped me to really sleep. I needed it. So since last week, we've been surrounded by angelic energy and dragon energy, she says. And indeed, I have seen dragons in the satellite imagery. I've seen their faces, and they're filled with so much love and light and happiness. And they're up there doing the weather. It's just, oh my God, they get to really shine. They're shining their best selves. The fire spirits are shining their best selves. Shit, there's wildfires all over the fucking planet right now. Those fire spirits are just having the time of their fucking lives, obviously. It's all a cleanse. It's all necessary and needed, but my God, it's affecting so many people. And the water spirits, my God, they're happy as hell. You know, they're happy as clams. Another water creature. I mean, they're happy. They're just like flooding everyone's streets and flooding their houses, but it's a big cleanse that's going on energetically. I'm sad for the people, but my God, all of this, there's so much absolute joy in the elemental kingdoms because they're shining their best selves. The winds, the dragons that are bringing the winds, oh my God, they're so happy. They're just like, yeah! Woo! They get to huff and puff the way that dragons do. You know, so what else does she say? So Naga Josephina, she also says, there's also some movement coming up again with crypto trading, etc. Changes are happening in the way in which we relate to each other. Financial prosperity and material opportunities are coming. Yes! Knock on wood, baby. Ooh! A symbol for today is wings. Angels, or winged angels. And she says for her, the number coming up today is 919. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, all right, I'm looking at this. No, not for me so much. I have no numbers for me right this moment. I am aware that tomorrow is my beautiful cat's birthday, though. She's going to be the birthday girl. August 13th, baby. Friday the 13th. It's a lucky day around our house. My little black kitten is going to be a cat. She's already a cat, technically, but she's full grown. And tomorrow is her birthday. I have no idea what I'm going to get her. I already bought her gifts and gave them to her. I couldn't help myself. Maybe I'll try to figure out something. I'll definitely make her a fish for sure for her little birthday. She can't blow out a candle, but I will light a candle for her because she loves to sit and watch candles. She is my witch's familiar, and that's just, Queen Knowledge Ravenspell. That is her official title now, because she's an official queen. That's what they call. Did you guys know that? That's what they call female cats, are queens. I thought, how cute is that? Female dogs are bitches, but female cats are queens. What? Like that's about right, isn't it? I don't know why. And female dogs are sweet. Oh my God. But that's come to mean over the years, over the decades, a lot worse than just being a female dog. Dogs are sweet, but anyway. So what it says here, a symbol for today. Okay, I already said that. Symptoms include sneezing, goosebumps, lip twitches, forehead tension, jaw pain, body soreness, joint pain, among others. So I did notice that as well. And I wanted to bring all that out just because I just wanted to bring her. I liked what she had to say today. It was very interesting. So yeah, just be aware of your multidimensional self and know that it's all okay. Don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to ground. Just drinking a glass of water sometimes is all you need to ground, by the way. Me, I use the element water a lot. I'll splash water on my face, or, eating for me grounds me as well. Eating healthy food, like my chili's just all chock full of vegetables. Lots of garlic. Garlic is so healthy. So, for me, that's my way of getting, my grounding in, like today I walked outside and hung out outside for about an hour, drank my coffee and listened to the kids next door screaming and playing and having a good time, and hanging out with my cat, enjoying the breeze coming up off the ocean. So using the air seen on the wooden deck, which is earth. Last night I had fire when I smoked weed, but I used fire to heat up my coffee. So, I use all the elements. It's not necessary to do magic in the world, but it's fun. I enjoy, just doing protective spells and honoring the beings that were here before, that helped people before, the gods and goddesses and whatnot. But my main go-to is always Prime Creator, and I'm asking him every day to help me shine bright like a star, and I hope that you are too. Just don't be afraid to shine your light as bright as you freaking can, because baby, you're brilliant. So there it is. I did want to go over spaceweather.com before getting into the rest of tonight's show. So the current solar wind speed is 384.8 kilometers per second. And we have sunspots are facing us, but they are small. They don't pose any threat for strong solar flares. And right now we are in the middle of the Perseid meteor shower. Today and tomorrow are going to be the peak, they believe. It hasn't even peaked yet. And there's some beautiful, beautiful pictures on of the Milky Way galaxy and a couple of the Perseid meteors from the team at spaceweather.com. They went out, the whole staff went out together to watch a meteor shower together. I'm like, oh, it'd be so sweet to work with them. I love this. But the meteor rates last night, it didn't peak because it was no more than 20 to 30 per hour. This is just a fraction of what they expect. The maximum, they expect 90 per hour. So it's a delayed peak. They believe it's going to happen probably tomorrow. And so if you go, the hours before your local sunrise might be the best. So they have observing tips if you are really interested in checking out the Perseid meteor shower, which I think is very special. I can't see it because I'm in the southern hemisphere, or kind of in the middle, the medium part. I don't know. I'm in the very center of the earth right now. I mean, not the center of the earth. I'm on the surface of the earth. But, you know, being in Ecuador, I don't really get to see these things. So, you know, I want to live vicariously through you guys. So go out and observe them and let me know if you see any cool, you know, fireballs or meteorites. It's pretty cool. So they're saying that most of the meteorites are coming through at an angle, so it's kind of cool. Let's see. In this picture, they also have Jupiter and Saturn are appearing in the left. That is actually pretty cool. So, yeah, this is actually a really cool picture. Right before the sun comes up, the sky is all kinds of colors. It's beautiful. It's like greenish and yellow and pink and blue, and like a muted blue. It's a really interesting picture. Actually, this is what the fifth dimension looks like. These people were taking this picture from the perspective of the fifth dimension. And I think that it's starting to come through more and more. The noctilucent clouds are still persisting, which is good. Generally speaking, you don't normally get August noctilucent clouds, and yet here they are. They're silvery right now, made of frosted meteor smoke. And they're starting to melt away as the mesosphere warms up in late summer. But right now, during this August, we're still seeing the noctilucent clouds. They're silvery. They're also bright blue. Depends on where you look. Now, you could see this picture on spaceweather.com. It's really interesting. It's just this ethereal blue. It's gorgeous. So as far as the space age average of the neutron counts are concerned, today we're at a high level, which means we're bombarded by cosmic radiation, and it has gone up by 0.6% since the last 48 hours. So we're at 8.9%. It's not the highest we've ever been. I expect it to go quite a bit up when that gamma ray hits us. That big gamma ray burst. Holy moly. All right. Now, as far as the solar wind is concerned, we have no significant equatorial coronal holes on the Earth's side of the sun, but according to All Sky Fireball Network and NASA's All Sky cameras, oh my God, they had 114 fireballs. Holy moly. 61 were Perseids. Yes, that's what I want to hear. So it is heating up. And 53 were sporadic. So we've got other things happening in the middle of the Perseid meteor showers. So quite a bit of activity out there in the sky, you guys. Lots of noctilucent cloud map is massive. It's still a lot of electric blue and now silver clouds in the sky when the sun goes down. And then the sky suddenly is more glowing than it should be. That's the noctilucent clouds. And so you're going to see those if you're outside as well. So before the sunrise and after the sunset, that's when all the space stuff is happening, all the space weather. So as far as the Schumann Resonance today of disclosurenews.it, you know, it just says 11, and I believe that's where we were at yesterday. So I'm going, yeah, and I just keep refreshing the page, and it just says 11. So I don't think they've updated it, or maybe they did, and that's all that they had. And as far as Heart Math Institute is concerned, there's like no news. So there you have it. All right, I'm feeling weird and disoriented right now. I'm going to be at this plateau for a while. That's what Prime Creator said. I feel like this insane, like it's an insanely high vibrational energy that I need to rise up to meet. And so I've been sleeping, and I've been trying to ground by eating food and drinking water, splashing water on my face, drinking coffee, all that kind of thing. But at the same time, I feel my body trying to expand energetically to meet and rise up to this higher vibration. And I'm trying to connect with it. And once I own it, that higher vibration, then I could go to a higher vibration than that. So this is why the Ascension's taking so long, is we're trying to raise up to the next level, to the next timelines. We have to keep raising up. And we're going to talk more about timelines right after this little musical interlude, where for the first time ever, I'm going to have my dear friend Archangel Barakael on the show. So, here we go. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I am back, and I am here on a Skype call with Brock Burquin, and he lives in Ohio, and he's been a listener to the show for about 2 or 3 months, not very long, but he had his first spiritual awakening when he was 10 years old, and he is 18 now, so that's about like 8 years he's been on the spiritual journey. He's quite aware spiritually and awake, and it is a joy and a pleasure to have been in touch with him in recent weeks, and having these conversations every day with him has really opened my eyes to things, and he sees things that I don't, and he asks me a lot of interesting questions. And we've been talking a lot lately about timelines and parallel universes, timeline hopping. And, you know, every time we hop up to another timeline, we have all these questions, because this is such a wild journey, this ascension of humanity. And so I said, why don't you write down all the questions you have, and we'll do a show, because you cannot be the only person that wants to know the answer to these questions. And plus, his questions are so interesting that I would not have come up with them myself. And I figured, instead of doing a typical channeling tonight, we're going to do this, because it's a more interesting format. So, without further ado, hi, Brock. All right, we could just hop right on into it. Do you have your list handy? Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to take a deep breath while you're asking your first question, and I'm going to be answering this from the perspective of Prime Creator. So go ahead and ask your question.
All right. So what are some ways we can tell that we have shifted into another timeline?
Okay, Prime Creator, what are ways we can tell we've shifted into a new timeline? And he's saying, greetings, I am Prime Creator. The first thing that most of you notice is that you get lightheaded and a little bit dizzy. Some of you might feel a scratchiness in the back of your throat, and you might feel a tickle in the back of your head or the back of your spine. And some of you might just feel a tingling sensation in your spine. And thirst, not hunger so much, but thirst, feeling very thirsty, is a really big indicator that you have just hopped a timeline, even if you're not consciously aware of it. The next thing that happens is when you walk into a room, you will feel slightly ajar, like a little bit different. The energy feels like it has shifted and there's no answer or reason or rhyme for it. You just feel like a stranger in your own home because this is not your home. It's a new version of the home you just came from, or the timeline you just came from. So these kinds of thoughts about feeling disoriented or strange and feeling a little bit out of sorts or out of place, along with the physical symptoms, these are your first clues. Later, you will discover maybe things are slightly different. And if you have the conscious awareness of it, you will be able to discern when things are a little bit longer or shorter, such as your fingernails or your favorite coat, or maybe your backpack or your books are a little bit different color, or maybe your bookmark might be in a different place. If you're normally reading a book, you might be on a different page. Your Netflix shows might be on a different episode from where you left off. You might be ahead a couple episodes that you don't remember watching, or behind a couple episodes, or something to that effect. And you might have anomalies with electronics as far as watching videos or music on YouTube. It might look like somebody else has been using your account, and you might feel a little confusion over that, but rest assured, more often than not, it's just you hopping to a new timeline, and the other you that used to be you in that place, they were watching something that you weren't. So, all right, there you go. There's your answer. What's your second question?
Can we shift timelines during our sleep?
Prime Creator, can we shift timelines during our sleep? Yes, and that is the preferred method of quantum travel, which is what timeline shifting is. It's quantumly shifting your energy field and focus so that you hop up to a parallel universe, usually in a positive direction where the energy is brighter and more intense, and you have a higher vibration. And when you sleep, a lot of your filters are fallen away, and you are able to acquire the knowledge and acquire the energy and the high vibrations that you have taken in during the day consciously. And when those filters fall away from you at night, you will turn around and wake up in another timeline that is more conducive to your newfound high vibrational energy. Okay, that was a good answer. Okay, what's your next question?
What happens to those versions of ourselves that were a part of timelines that ended up collapsing?
Oh, that's a really good one. Okay, so collapsed timelines. What happens to us in that time to the other us's, or, when the timelines collapse, what happens? First of all, when the timelines collapse, they merge into new timelines. And so you might have two timelines that merge together, like cars merging into traffic, where you have two lines of traffic and then they merge together, and now you have one line of traffic. But when you have two bodies and one soul that's inhabiting all of the different bodies, because your one soul is fragmented among all of the yous that you are. And so what happens is your main you will gather unto yourself the lower vibrational timelines. As they collapse and fall away, that part of your soul comes back to you. But rest assured, that part of your soul is definitely not a lower vibrational part of you, because your soul does not have a lower or higher vibration. It just is pure love. It's the highest vibration. It's your bodies that hold the vibration, lower or higher. So basically, to answer the question, your energy gets shifted up one. It gets shifted and merges back in to your own, to your soul. So it's just, your soul can never really be fractionalized or divided. It's just one whole soul. However, any energy that is positive, that will help your current situation, merges into your physical body, and and then as your other body just goes away, it just vanishes and disappears when that timeline goes away, and you just reabsorb the molecules if they're positive in nature. Otherwise, it just gets reabsorbed back into the universe to be, energy to be recycled for other purposes. Okay, your next question.
So when we ascend, does it have an impact on all the different timelines?
Oh, that's a really good question. So when we ascend, does it have an impact on all the different timelines? There's a crowding situation. If we want to go back to said highway metaphor, there is a crowding situation right now. It's as if, if you could say if you can see in your mind's eye 10 lanes of traffic, and they're all being merged into one lane right now. If you can imagine that. But now if you make every lane of traffic in your mind, in your idea, in your mind, as thousands of lifetimes, thousands of parallel universes, right? And they're all collapsing into one right now. And then say that one last one is 1,000, and then now that's going to collapse down into one. And this isn't exactly what is happening, because there might be millions. It depends on what time of the ascension process you're talking about. I mean, 10 years ago there were trillions of possibilities, and then it goes down to billions, and now millions, as all these lanes are merging into one. Because before humanity ascends, you're going to all merge into one lane. And this is the idea of the unity consciousness as well. There's so many components to the idea and the mystery of unity, that when you hop up into the fifth dimension, it's going to be one. It's going to be one lane. And okay, so God, if it's going to be one lane, this is me, Elaine, asking the question now. I have a follow-up. And Brock, you probably have the same thought. Are we going to be able to have more parallel universes in the fifth dimension? Yes, as such. So I'm seeing it almost like a bow tie. So almost like a bow tie shape, where it comes to the center, like from the edge, collapses down into one knot at the middle, right? And then it can expand out again, but we all have to hop up as one unit, not as a soul in fractionalized bodies. I feel like it's just going to be one. Is this right? And muscle testing is showing me yes. Did that answer the question, Brock?
Yeah.
Hopefully that made sense. I just looked, we're at 1244. 44 is an angel number, for those of you who are keeping track of that. So, okay. Well, is there a follow-up, or do you have or what's your next question?
So does that mean that once we ascend, it's like when we ascend, will it just be one Earth that ascends, or are there going to be multiple timelines that ascend?
Okay, so Prime Creator, answer this one, please. As your human selves are merging into one human self that is your main human self. And then in that human body, you are shedding all the molecules and the atoms, and the parts of you, the denser parts of you, are falling away. You're becoming more of a light body. And the same thing is happening to the planet Earth and all of the things on all the planets. Everything is merging into one. It's almost as if you have a lens that's out of focus and it's out of phase, and you see all the different components. You might see one of the phases is bright red, and one of the phases is blue, and one of the phases is yellow, and one of them is white, and one of them is a scattering of different colors. But when you put all of the phases together, it's almost like you're gathering all of the colors together as if it's a rainbow. But if you turn the rainbow on its side, if you could do that, you would notice, or you see the source of it is ultimate light that has been scattered or refracted. But it all goes up into a single point of pure white light. But that pure white light contains all of the rainbow colors. And this is why the masters of light, when they see themselves as a rainbow body, they notice that they have all the colors inside their they're taking all their fractionalized parts and merging it like a rainbow, and then compressing it, and that's when it turns into a light body. It's not a light rainbow body, it's a rainbow light body, because that's the order in which they perceive it. It's a rainbow, and then it's a light, and that light is pure white light containing all the colors of the rainbow. And then that's the part that merges with the higher self and hops one up. And this is how you ascend, is to take all the different colors and fractions of fractionalized parts of the self, and you are like focusing a lens. So, and notice if you have a lens that has hardly any light coming through it, nothing is happening. But if you focus it, it can create a fire, because it's more powerful when you focus that lens. And this is what the Ascension is doing, is helping you to focus your lens. All of the planets are merging back together. All of the parallel universes, all of the Earths, all of the humans, everything, all of the trees, all of the squirrels are merging all of their squirrel selves into one squirrel. All the trees are merging into one tree. Everything is merging into one. And then with that one, you will ascend to the fifth dimension. And the refractionalization may take place again. But you're not going to have the bipolarity any longer. So it won't be the good and the bad, the us versus them. It's just going to be unity mentality. But then you can start making choices again from a fifth dimensional viewpoint. But it's not going to be positive, negative, dark, light. It's going to be in a different level or different octave of being. And it's quite impossible to fully explain until you're there. But expect it to be very different. Okay, go ahead with the next question, Brock.
Do some people move up and down the timelines together, like the same version of them?
Oh yeah, that's a great question, because we were talking about that we think when we're moving up, we feel like we're moving up together, like the same day. Like you have said it, and our mutual friend Jordan has said it to me too, where she says, yeah, I think I keep popping up. And she, like on Monday, I know I made a switch, and she did too. So we've been thinking about this. So Prime Creator, can we move up with people, like specifically, especially if we're having a conversation that's an ongoing for weeks kind of conversation? Do they move up and down with us? If or how does that work? Okay, so Prime Creator is saying, if you are in sync with that person, then yes, you are moving up and down. Usually you're moving up rather than down, but sometimes you might move down together. Like, for example, we'll take the case of two sisters who normally are in sync in every way. They're spiritually open and available to the energies of the cosmos, and they're learning and growing and changing. But we'll say they have a natural disaster and an earthquake strikes their town, and something like the road splits up in front of their house and they're scared. Their fear will immediately pop them down maybe 1 or 2 or 3 timelines for a while until they can gather themselves, and then they'll move back up. But they will move together because they were already moving together in time. And so it's the same thing, not always to do with disasters. That's usually how, if you're spiritual, you're going to move together with somebody downward. It's usually a shock. Like maybe you're in a car accident together or something happens and suddenly you just get knocked for a loop, basically, and you emotionally go down in vibration, and now you just boop, boop, go down 2 timelines or 1 timeline. But the same is true for when you're learning and growing and sharing in love and light together on a spiritual path, and you're encouraging each other. You are merging energies together in a way in which you're synergistically helping each other spiritually to hop up. And as you do that, you form a bond, and it is that bond, not unlike a covalent bond in chemistry, where it's almost like you're having a quantum or mechanical bond to them, in a way that you are pulling them up, or they will be pulling you up to that next timeline. So sometimes you will leap together, but sometimes you will pull them or they will pull you up, especially when you have forged a bond on a specific timeline. And this is good. This is good for your spiritual growth. And this is why it's always encouraged for you to keep at each other, just help each other spiritually, because when you form these bonds, you help to merge more timelines together to you, and you also move up timelines together to new dimensions, new parallel universe dimensions, where it's always a little bit more improved. And yes, you do move together. Okay, your next question, please. Brock? Okay.
If it is possible to is it possible to approximate how many different Earths there are right now, since there's no longer infinite?
Oh, wow. Well, God. Is it possible to let us know how many parallel Earths there are?
Like hundreds, thousands, millions.
Okay, good. Thank you for the qualification. He was like getting ready to tell me a whole number, and I'm like, whoa. So, so is it less than hundreds? Oh, no. He says no, child. It's a lot more than that. You are still in the millions territory. Before you were in the trillions and the billions. You have merged down to the millions territory. So, okay, all right, more than 20 million. He says about 30 million. We have about 30 million parallel Earths right now. And he's saying because of all the computations and permutations, but some of them are extremely close together, like 1% or 0.5% different. So it's not technically a full jump up to another parallel Earth, but there's like the Earths between the Earths. That's very interesting. I didn't even know about that. That's even a whole nother thing to think about. So 30 million, like, official parallel Earths, but also the ones in between. So he's saying that there's like Earths between Earths. So like, maybe so God, this is Elena asking a question. So I'm thinking there might be a situation where there's a yes or a no, but then there's also maybe the middle road where there's a maybe. And that maybe section might be a mushy, maybe. And so that I call it mushy because it's maybe 1% different. Like, for example, are you giving me this example? Okay, so God's giving me an example. Okay, so God say, yes, exactly. So if somebody asks you, like a vendor on the street, they ask you, do you want to buy a piece of chicken? And you can say yes, and now you're on the world in which you said yes. Or you could say no, and now you're on the world in which you said no. Now, which one is the higher vibration? Well, if the chicken is going to make you very sick, and you say yes, then that vibration lowers your bodily vibration and you hop down a parallel universe. But say you say yes to the chicken and it nourishes your body and it's a really wonderful choice for you. Now you're going to hop up one parallel universe. However, say you're walking with a friend and you say you're not sure. You don't say yes or no, and your friend says, I tell you what, I will buy a piece of chicken and we will share it. Now what happens is you're in the mushy world. You're in the world where you did not say yes or no when presented with something that will affect your health one way or the other. And so you're in one of the in-betweens. So you might go half an octave down if it makes you both sick, or half an octave up if it makes you a little better off. Versus really nourishing your body, it might just give you a tidy over. That's my word for it. This is what God's saying, tidy over. Just something that kind of tides you over to the next meal and is just kind of a little bit of nutrition. So it's not a big affection of your life. It doesn't affect your life in a big way, but you have the minuscule lives in between. So there's like 30 million Earths. Okay, so hard Earths, without the stuff in between, he's saying between 10 and 11 million. So we have a lot left to do, and that's why it's going to take years, right? He's saying basically, yeah. All right. Okay, next question. He says, but it's going to collapse. They're going to collapse faster than you can imagine and faster than you think. And there will be events coming that make them collapse faster. And quite a bit. Okay, go ahead, Brock.
That was my last question, regarding the timelines, but I have two more about Ascension, if you want to keep going, or...
Yeah, for sure, let's do it. Let's ask about the Ascension, for sure. It's these very interesting answers.
So, if we happen to ascend to the fifth dimension while there are still 3D Earths, would we be able to, manifest ourselves physically back into 3D? Or, how would that work? And, what sort of changes can, we expect for others to notice about us?
Okay. Yes, of course, you can always manifest in the third dimensional world after you've gone up to the fifth dimension, because it's just a matter of lowering your vibration, and it's much easier to lower your vibration than it is to raise your vibration. Just as if, imagine if you have a boiling pot of water on the stove, and imagine all of the energy it takes to boil that water, and imagine how long it takes to cool down that water. It's not the same amount of time, because if you take into consideration the air around that boiling pot is quite cold, and so it takes maybe 10 or 15 minutes to boil, but when you turn the heat off, it cools down within 5 minutes or less, sometimes 3 minutes if it's very cold. So it's the same thing. It takes a lot more energy to raise up and ascend into a higher vibrational being and hop to another level than it is to allow yourself to go down in vibration. But once you are living in that higher vibration, it takes a lot of effort to lower your vibration, and it becomes a little painful. But ascended masters sometimes will appear to people in their 3D state. It's painful because they have to hold themselves down, and it's almost like very heavy, and it's almost like a weight on the chest, and it kind of pulls down energetically in the chest area or the heart chakra. They have to very much lower the vibration. So it's easy to do, but it's more emotionally painful. It's harder to go into the fifth dimension, which is why it's taking so long for you to raise up, because you've been used to this level of energy, this level of vibration. It's easier to lower it than to raise it, but it's painful to lower it, which is why you don't see a lot of ascended masters descending back into the fifth dimension. So there we go. Did we answer the question? Or was
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So you have one more?
Yeah. So like some of us, some of the archangels and the angels were wondering like if we'll be able to get our wings, and if so, would that take place before or after the ascension?
Oh, okay. Well, I think you've let the cat out of the bag, or you've just let the bird out of the bag now. So I'm gonna say it. Is it okay if I say who you really are?
Sure.
Okay, guys, this is Archangel Barakael, incarnate. And there have been statues made to Barakael. He is the Archangel of lightning and abundance. But please don't pray to him or call upon him, because he's in human form. And he told me that for years you felt drained, right? I mean, I felt drained for years before I asked God to put a kibosh on allowing people to call upon our energy, because we're in physical form, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to be an archangel, incarnate, when people don't know, and then they call upon you and they try to pray to you and take your energy away from you when you're like, I'm in a limited human body right now, and it takes away from my ability to do my angelic duties here. But and plus the fact that we're all just starting to wake up to the fact that that's who we are. We are archangels. So all right, so let's go to the first part of that question. So I want to hear it again. Are we going to get our wings in 3D? Is that what you asked?
I was saying, will we get our wings at all, and then will it be before or after we ascend?
Okay, basically. Okay. All right, Prime Creator. You have your wings already, dear Barakael. You all have your wings already, but they are in the higher dimensions. And just like a baby has to grow into its big head or its big ears, my darlings, you have to grow back into your wings. That's the answer. That's awesome. Okay, so are we going to have our wings physically on Earth? No, that is not the case, because you are currently inhabiting what is called the pattern of man. And the pattern of man does not include wings, and this is why men don't have wings. This is why incarnated archangels are able to walk amongst men unawares, because they do not have they don't have wings, and it's just easy because you're fitting into the pattern of man in the third dimension. And when you go back to your angelic self and your realm of the angels, you are able to get ethereal wings in the 5th dimension. And they will look more solid in the higher dimensions, 7th, 9th, 11th, etc. You're going to have more physical and solid wings the more you go up dimensions, because that's where your pattern for the wings exist. And but so what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, or what I'm seeing in my mind's eye is like, almost like, Brock, we're gonna have these wings that are they're gonna be there and people could see them, but they're gonna be ethereal. And I'm seeing they're kind of like glass. Like, I think God is showing me my wings, and they're gonna look kind of bluish, because my wings are normally kind of like so black they're blue. Like my skin, my human skin is so white it's blue. I have like kind of like a bluish hue. But and some archangels have like white wings, and some have like blue wings. Like my archangel Sandalphon, he has like bluish wings. Like my blue bird of happiness. I can't wait to meet him. But so this is why I'm taking a mean prime creator. We're gonna have like wings that kind of look like glass or ethereal. He's saying, yes, that is correct. You're going to get your wings, but they're going to be more like rainbow colors. They're going to be energy and light wings. And the more higher vibration you have, you can tell, because your wings will become appearing more solid. So the deeper we go into the 5th dimension, then, yes, the deeper you go into the 5th dimension, the more their wings will show up. Will we be able to change the color of our wings, like in the 5th dimension? Yes, but only slightly, because you have a pattern of how much color you have in your wings, depending on which archangel you are, because you all have different rays and hues to your energy and to the form that you show, like the way you show up, the pattern that you show up to people as. So for example, I'm asking you, prime creator, from my perspective, Azrael, I have wings that appear black, and they are also but I also came here to Earth on the emerald ray. So do my wings ever turn green? He's saying, no, your wings are black, but the more you go up in vibration, they turn white. And now, is this the same for all of the archangels? Yes. So the more we get up to heaven and beyond, our wings are going to appear more white. So I don't know. Do you have any more questions about the angel stuff?
No.
What about Ascension? Have you thought of anything new since we started this?
Will we be able to get some of the CDs before we ascend?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Before we merge into the 5th dimension, God, are we going to get more superhuman abilities, the cities? Because we're anxious to get going on some of this. We want to help humanity. So your abilities are already yours. You have to claim them, and in order to claim them, you have to let go of your patterns and ways of thinking that tell you that superhuman abilities are not real or don't exist, or you don't deserve them, or you don't have them, because you already have them. You have to claim them. But the more you work on yourself and your shadow side, the more your superhuman abilities are going to come online and come into play. And this is not just for archangels incarnate. This is for humans and for star seeds as well. and everything, all of creation is moving up. And as they move up, everyone is getting newfound ways of thinking and abilities. As you can tell, the animals, insects, everything have changed in a way in which they are moving up one as well. All right. Yeah. So, okay. What else can you think of, Brock?
I'm not sure.
Okay. There was something that you and I talked about before that you didn't write down on the list that was kind of a disturbing question you asked me a few weeks ago about when we hop up timelines, what happens to the other us? Do we bump ourselves up? Like if our self was up, like, you know, so we're getting ready to merge into an upper timeline. Are we merging into who we were? Or is that, or who we are in that parallel universe? Or is that one moving up one? Is everyone moving up one? And what happens to the top person if everyone moves up one? Do you remember that? We were talking about that.
Yeah.
Because it's like such a freaky idea. Like, what happens to the rest of us? Literally the rest of us. So, okay, so Prime Creator, what happens when we merge, when we go up? One of two things is happening. You're either merging into the other part of yourself, or you are bumping yourself up, as you say. And when the lower timelines collapse completely and they are taken away, all the energy just merges upward. And when the timelines merge together, you do merge and fuse with that other part of yourself. But your soul is not divided. What happens is your soul can never be divided. It just is. But it's just the two energies, like the two sets of memories, merge and combine, which is where the Mandela effects are coming from. And this is where we are having a lot of the strange symptoms, because you have two sets of memories. So you question your memory, you question your mind, you think you're going crazy, but it's just when you are merging together two sets of memories into the higher vibrational octave. And sometimes when someone asks you a question and you will get the answer in your mind, what happens is you will struggle to remember the actual thing that happened. And because you're on a higher vibrational octave timeline, you will immediately reject the lower vibrational memory if it is a lower vibrational memory. So you will automatically accept for yourself the higher storyline, the higher vibrational line that makes the most high vibrational sense. So if you fall and scrape your knee when you're 8 years old on two different timelines, and say this is an event that goes across all the timelines, maybe on the lower vibrational timeline you fall and scrape your knee and it leaves a scar for 10 years, but in the higher octave vibrational timeline it does not leave a scar because you barely hurt yourself, because it was a higher vibration. And you had a higher awareness of falling, and you were more aware of your body, and your spirit was more in charge versus your body that's more in charge in the lower vibrations. So when you're less aware spiritually, you're in lower octaves. When you're higher minded, you are in a higher vibration. And as such, you will have the presence of mind to protect yourself more. And that is what you choose for yourself. So when you're merging your soul or your energies and memories from a lower octave into the new body, which is a higher vibration, you will look at your knee and you might remember the bad scar you used to have, but you look at your current knee and there's no scar. And the reason is because it never happened on this timeline, and that's what you accept automatically. So you might have two memories that merge, but then the lower vibrational memory will fall away. Well, that's very interesting. All right. Have you thought of anything new there, Brock?
Yeah. So while we start to ascend, will we start not needing as much food?
Ooh, good question. And also sleep, right? Because that's another weird one.
Yeah.
Okay, so Prime Creator, do we need less as we raise up in vibration and ascend? You will need more light food, like actual light from the sun, but you can take this in, you don't need to take it in directly because your physical skin is still having a hard time digesting all of the food that the sun has to offer. But when you go up in vibration, you're going to start to take in energy from your environment around you. So from the sun, from the air itself, from the plasma that is on Earth, that comes from the solar winds or the various cosmic energies that are always being driven your direction. So you take in energy from other sources, you will require less food. However, when you hop up several timelines at once, you might suddenly find yourself voracious, very, very hungry. And then you might want to eat. You might have eating binges, and that's okay too. And then you might have periods where you sleep a lot, and then other times where you don't sleep as much. And it just depends on how you are perceiving your timeline hopping. So once you are ascended, you will require less sleep, and you will require less energy spent on things. You will have less mental energy focusing on problems because you're going to have less problems, because everything will be so much easier to manifest. Everything will feel a lot less like a lot more effortless, like a lot less effort. And with less effort, you need less food and also less sleep to get over. Usually when you put out so much effort, you need more sleep. Whether it's mental effort or physical strain, which is also effort, the energy that you expend mentally and physically, and even spiritually, results in you wanting to sleep a lot and eat a lot. But when you're in the higher vibration, in the higher realm, such as the fifth dimension, you will require less of all of that because your mental strain will be at a minimum, if any at all. Your physical strain will be cut by at least 65%. So you will require less food and less slumber. Okay. Awesome, Brock. Do you have anything else now?
I can't think of anything else right now.
All right. Yeah, I think I can't think of anything else right now either. I think that kind of covers practically everything that we've talked about in relationship to time and timelines.
Oh wait, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So as we start moving into higher timelines, will we actually start to see the plasma and like more etherical stuff in general?
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, you didn't catch yesterday's show yet, but there maybe actually was in our Archangel group. There was a picture of the crystals in the sky. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday Prime Creator did say we're going to start to see stuff like that more often. That is in the fifth dimension. We're going to get closer and closer. So we'll see bits and pieces of stuff like that, including the plasma and the crystals in the sky and the light ships of the Pleiadians, and all of that is going to come as we merge up into the fifth dimension. And once we get there, we're going to see that kind of stuff all the time. It'll be more of it won't be an anomaly, it'll just be common.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty awesome too. I loved those pictures, were incredible. I told people yesterday the group to go check it out on Facebook because it's just too cool. So do you have anything else you wanted to ask? Prime Creator, you want to add?
I think that's it.
Okay. Yeah, Prime Creator said no, he doesn't want to add anything to what I said because it was already said yesterday. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Archangel Barakael, for being on the show. I'm really grateful that you came on and that we talked about all this stuff because people are so interested in, in the stuff that we talk about. Everyone's interested in this, I think. And it's stuff that we're all starting to experience and become more aware of. So we all have questions.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. It was a pleasure. All right, guys. So there you have it. I hope that this has cleared up some questions that you have thought about in recent months. And maybe you've gotten more questions. If you do, you could write me. I will address them in season 5 because this is our last Thursday together for a while. We're going to take like 5 or 6 weeks off, and then I'm going to come back strong, and then we will work through Christmas, probably a week before Christmas. So going on into the holidays with season 5. But anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed the show. I want to let you know that even though I'm taking a break, I will be available for readings. So you may contact me at mermaidgirl888 on Instagram or mermaidgirl888@gmail.com. Just to let me know if you want to do a reading. That's okay. If you want to do a half price reading for a half hour instead of the full hour, that's okay too. I have opened up my schedule to include both kinds of readings, and I wanted to thank you in advance for that. If you have any questions at all, just don't hesitate to ask. And that's it. I will be back tomorrow for my final Earth Changes report and weekly Weird World News for the 4th season. So this is the final one for the 4th season. And I'll, of course, resume these episodes in the 5th season, of course, because they are so wildly popular. So basically, I'll be back tomorrow with all unique and original programming, just like always. Until then, I'm signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the holy 5th dimension. Until next time, guys, peace. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.